What's going on, y'all? Jesse here with Borsellanet. Today we're diving into Death Symbolic. Let's get into it. Alright, right off the gate, we've got a classic riff here. The title track, Symbolic. Now, just straight from the beginning, I can just hear just that signature death guitar tone. It's got that bite to it. Real tight sound, high gain, but not too high. And here comes in Chuck Schuldner's signature vocal sound. One of the first guys to really be doing that whole death metal growl thing back in the day. What year did this album come out in? 95, okay. Still pretty old. Alright, we got into a real fast, almost galloping, just straight up fast death metal riff here. There's one thing I always liked about this band is like they'll always do these like BPM and time changes for all the specific arrangement sections that they have. Case in point, they just broke it down for this little pre-chorus here. And yeah, the way that this band builds together their songs, you can really read it on the lyric sheets here. That's one thing I did always like about Death. They were very easy to follow with the lyric sheet when you're just like sitting, chilling, listening to the album, and you've got the artwork and you've got the sheet in front of you and whatever. It's real easy to keep up with, and I respect that kind of thing, you know. Like he actually sings what he's writing down on here. So we're up to the first chorus here. Very cool picking with the right hand. Could be doing all down or maybe alternate picking there, but these are some of the few riffs that I've actually learned how to play, and they're just a lot of fun. I don't want to say they're easy, but it is easy to see how he can sing along while playing the riff. First solo by Chuck Schuldner here, which once again, I always appreciate it when the band's right who's doing the solo and when they're doing it. So nerds like me can just be like, oh dude, did you hear that Schuldner solo? Fuck yeah, man, because you know where it is. It's written down right there for you. You don't have to guess who's doing the guitar solo or whatnot. Cool little key change, little break there. And we get to hear Bobby Coble for the first time in Death history. Sorry, it's just so cool, man. Really good guitarist. Really nice guy, too. I've got to meet him before. We'll talk about that. So we're going to like a post-bridge section here. Back into the intro riff here, man. And that's just like solid songwriting 101 right there. Metal by numbers, 1, 2, 3. But this band knew how to do it, man, and they did it very well. And they wore it on their sleeve too. I could map out the arrangement of every song on here. Shoot, I've listened to this record so many times I could probably do it without even listening to it. So now we're back into it's like a second verse where it speeds up and picks up a lot. Great drum work. We got our boy Gene Hoglan here, who's listed as he plays the drums, the propeller, and the M14 shell. I don't know if we'll actually hear all those sounds in here, but we might. I don't know. That is pretty interesting. I never noticed that before. Gene Hoglan, for those of you who don't know, amazing eclectic drummer, has been in many bands. Dark Angel, strapping young lad. I'm pretty sure he's worked with Devin Townsend on other stuff too. Death, obviously. Yeah. Big guy, big drums, big drum sound. Also a big all-around guy. He's super tall too. And I was reading his thank you notes, and he says, 120 pounds thank you to all who have supported me in my weight loss. This dude lost 120 pounds, at least, during this time. That's a lot, man. I remember when I weighed 120. Good stuff. Speaking of Gene Hoglan's drums, he's got this cool little fade-out outro where he's hitting a lot of toms going, a lot of 16th notes, maybe even 32 notes in there. He's fast. He's really fast. So first song, I mean, you just know it's going to be a great album. The production is perfect. This is just one of those records where I don't have anything bad that I can say about it. A cool little drum intro here, warning you that this is my personal favorite Death song. It's called Zero Tolerance. Kind of starts off with this, almost sounds off-time signature. I'm sure it's not, but the way that Hoglan plays this drum beat, it almost kind of throws you for a loop for a couple of seconds there, but then Schuldner comes in with a little mini solo and it makes everything alright again. Death always had this kind of groove to them. I'll never say that they're groove metal or anything like that, but for a death metal band, you can definitely nod your head and groove to it, much more so than a lot of the contemporary groups in the day, especially in the Florida death metal scene. We had Obituary and Atheist and Cannibal Corpse and Cynic, where they were more about the technical aspect and the speed, definitely. Or Cannibal Corpse was just brutality. Same thing with Obituary. I mean, they just wanted to play ugly music. But Death, I'm hearing some clean guitars in the background here, and it just fits so well. It's melodic, but it kind of creeping along. But don't worry, they'll speed it up. I'm pretty sure. It is death metal still, at the end of the day. Okay, so we little kind of time change with the 16th note triplets in there. Here a guitar solo. Let's see who we got here. Alright, first solo. This is Schuldner playing. He's also one of those guitarists where you could just sing along his guitar solos. He'll kind of form his own melody in the solo, and then from there he'll break out into it and start improvising and adding more shreddy stuff on top of it. Just some tasty licks here. I love it with bands like this that have two amazing guitars, and then they'll do a key change during the bridge section when the second guy comes in, and it just amps up the energy. And this is probably why it's my favorite Death song, because they do that. I'm just a sucker for those little techniques like that. Coble here just killing it. And I hear some like double tracking on his guitars on there. This is a really cool technique. It's not easy to do. Um, yeah, like you're pretty much like harmonizing with yourself and whatnot. So, very talented musician there. And he's got another solo right here. This is more melodic solo. Shorter. Very cool. So one thing I did notice after years of listening to this record is that Coble is actually only on, I think, like 3 tracks. Yeah, he comes back on the last song, Perennial Quest, but other than that, he was just on these first 2 tracks. And like I said, I never had even noticed. And that just shows how great the music is. But me personally, I would have loved to see some more like shared solo segments where they're going back and forth or something. Once again, I'm just a sucker for that, so that's just me personally. So this clean intro that you're hearing is the intro of the song called Empty Words, and this is a fan favorite, and I'm pretty sure it's just a personal favorite for Chuck Schuldiner, the lead songwriter and guitarist of the group, the founding member. I think like their website is emptywords.org or net or something like that. And it's just a great song. Starts off with a clean intro, which again is, some people consider that progressive in the death metal genre. I mean, for me, it just fits the song. And much like the drum intro in the last track, it just kind of sets you up for what's coming. Especially for a fan like me, I know that I like the song, so it's cool to hear something, short and sweet to kind of go into it, because it's kind of whet your appetite, right? It's like going in for a good meal. You know it's going to be good, but you're still going to have a piece of bread or two with some butter or something before you dive right in. Really cool technical rhythm riff here going into the pre-chorus. And this is just a heavy, heavy riff, man. Kind of going back between the technicality and the heavy there. Great songwriting technique for sections like this, where you kind of do an A, B, A, B, which just goes right into the chorus. And build up with the drums here. Yeah, I guess there's like a short little tapping part there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and this is a deep song. I mean, the song's called Empty Words, and that's what it's about, man. Like words have power to really hurt people, man. Sometimes people just say shit just to say shit, and they don't realize like it's hurting people. And that's one of the main focuses on this record. Which is cool for a death metal record. He's not just singing about like zombies eating flesh or Satan or something. Like, he's really talking about personal issues and issues just with humanity a lot of times. Where, yeah, just kind of exposing humanity, if you will. It's one of those things, like, we all know it, but just to hear it in an art form, or to see it in an art form, can sometimes really open up your eyes. Great solo by Schuldner there. Another like little post-bridge verse, and then a break back into the intro riff. So, we're already seeing songwriting techniques. This is the third song we're already seeing techniques being repeated again, and I have no problem with that. If you've got a good formula, like, there's really nothing wrong with sticking to it. And especially for a band like this, like, let's see, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this was their 6th record. Being a band for like over 10 years. So at that point, like, you better have a style and a formula. I'm more worried about bands that have been playing for over a decade or two and still all over the place, And again, back into this technical, heavy A-B pre-chorus here. I feel like this is a section where, like, the pit would get going, and people would just be, like, moshing and circle pitting. And then once, like, the build-up to the chorus comes, people would just go nuts. Right? Like, give them a little thrash, give them a little heavy. And then with the chorus, like, give them something to think about and maybe even sing along to, because I'm not going to say it's catchy, but the lyrics are really well written. And this is one of the few songs where he actually has a pretty decent vocal rhythm. There's one thing you'll find out about Chuck and his singing. He sings while he's playing. So as a guitarist, I can see, like, oh, he sings whenever he hits these notes. But if you were just a singer, it's like the most awkward sounding vocal rhythms that no one would ever just come up with out of the blue. Like, it's really based around his guitar playing. It's cool. I can imagine him just sitting down with, like, an acoustic guitar, writing these riffs, and then, like, singing along to them, or at least coming up with a rhythm just by himself. And, like, that's a true trait of a songwriter right there. Really cool stuff. This song is called Sacred Serenity. Another cool intro. There are a lot of cool intros in this album. But this one's got, like, harmonizing guitars and stuff. And I'm pretty sure Chuck Schuldner did, I'm just going to say all of them. I think he only had Coble just coming and doing those handful of solos. Which, I get it. Death was never a band that had a consistent lineup. And I think that was just because, business-wise, if you're writing all the music, and you can play all the music, and you're singing and writing all the lyrics, and you're arranging the songs, it's probably better just to pay someone just to come in, at least do some studio work. Hey man, I need solos here, 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 and here. Track them out, and then, like, if they want to go on tour, then that's just another business proposal. But I do see this a lot with some songwriters where it's just like, yeah, like, they take control of the project. And I have no issue with that if the music is great, and it is. I guess I'll just say it again. I just wish there was more Bobby Coble solos on this record. I got to meet Bobby at it's a small bar close to downtown Orlando called Will's Pub. And every Wednesday, they had a jazz trio play, and it was like a free, like no door, no cover type deal. And they would just play it, so you could just go in, have a couple drinks and listen to some cool jazz fusion music. And I found out that the guitarist was none other than Bobby Colville. Put a pin in that. Cool little clean bridge here. Y'all know how I feel about bridges. If you have a good bridge, and Death does, every song, we've already been, this is the fourth song, and it's pretty much the same arrangement the whole time. But they get me. And then back into the first riff there. Again, perfect. But but anyways, so I got to meet Bobby, got to talk to him, and he said it was super easy working with Chuck, and it was great working with him. I'm sure that's just because he just came in and just laid down a few ripping solos. But he said he did get to hang out with him quite a bit, and he also told me, I don't know how true this is, but he said that Chuck said that the vinyl version of this record was the best sounding thing, compared to like CD or tape or whatnot. He was a fan of the mix and the vinyl specifically. I brought my own silver Sharpie. You're probably not going to be able to see this, but I got him to sign on there. It says, "Cheers, Jesse, Bobby Colville." So, I mean, it had to have been him. Looks like, looks like a legit signature. Also, weird artwork going on. It is called Symbolic, so I'm sure there's some symbolic things going on in there. There's an eyeball up top there, which probably has to do with this next song called 1,000 Eyes. This is a cool song. It starts off with like just a kind of a good like tribal tom beat going on with some thrashing riffing before just speeding up. And Gene Hoglan's just doing his signature double bass kick, just pure speed. I mean, that guy is faster than fast. I'm sure he's probably won some records or something. But then just kind of thrash it out a little bit here. This is one of my favorite songs just because of that. It's just a straight up ripper. There are melodic parts. I think the chorus is like really melodic. And the lyrics is really cool. It's about living in this new society where there's cameras everywhere. There's no more privacy. I think he was just talking more about like CCTV and like security cameras and stuff. But like if he knew what like cell phones would be like, or like even just like people's doorbells nowadays. I mean, there are cameras everywhere. And some people still think it's not enough. He just brings about, okay, it could be kind of scary, though, to think about that kind of thing. Very cool chorus, melodic, fast. Like, he's doing this double time. Any faster, and it would be a blast beat. I mean, and then just like this, like, chunky, heavy bridge section. Oh yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite tunes on here. You give me a chunky bridge. I mean, I like the melodic bridges too, but a chunky bridge can go a long way. When I say chunky, I mean like palm mute, downstroke on the either the open strings or like full chords. Chunk, 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 chunk. Because it kind of sounds like a chunk. If you still don't understand, leave a comment below. On Borsellanet, reviewing Death Symbolic. Back into the the initial intro riff here. I need to start like writing down these arrangements and just copying them. I feel like you could play any genre of music and take his songwriting, and you could use it for anything. Like, yeah, you could be a pop star, country star, just straight up rock. Yeah, and you could do it punk rock. I'm here for it. Good work, Chuck Schuldiner. Good work, Death. This has been an incredible first half of the record here. I'm already looking ahead. I'm excited for the second half too. You know, really like this pre-chorus leading up into the chorus here, and it's fast. But he's got this melodic, slow guitar line going up overhead on here. Open it up a little bit with the open chords. Cool, like Hogan's just hitting the double kick and then it just fades out with it. That's a cool little technique there. I dig it. Right on, man. Okay. I'll see you for side 2. Alright, right off the gate, side 2. We've got really cool, like, harmonizing guitars going on in here. Really epic. Using, like, those, like, Iron Maiden style open chords with a melody over it. Straight into the first verse. Cool. You know, once again, just showing, like, hey, we're not fooling around. We're just gonna jump right into it. This song, Without Judgment. Pretty sure it's about, like, the judicial system. I think it ponders the question, you know, if we didn't have the judicial system, like, what would happen? Like, people would be forced to, like think for themselves and stuff, and, like, acknowledge things, like people getting hurt and pain and stuff like that. I don't know, man. It's pretty deep stuff. I'm gonna have to get someone on the show that's better at, like, reading lyrics than me, because like, as a metalhead, I just like to bang my head and hear a cool groovy riff like this one, and mostly just have a good time, you know. I do like the idea of, like, social lyrics like this, you know. Man, really, just one riff after another. I'm just blown away here. This is a really fast riff. And it's the chorus riff, too. So once again, we're getting a really fast chorus. Which is awesome. I feel like sometimes a band would, like, they'll go to the mid-tempo and then open it up for a big, huge chorus, but he's doing these tight, fast choruses and almost using it as a vessel to open it up into a solo, like we're hearing right now. Another Schuldiner solo. And using the bridge section to open up more, instead of using your chorus to do that. A very smart move. Especially because right here after the solo, he's just opening it up even more. Because we all know it's just going to go back to the first riff anyways. So, I mean, cool stuff. This is one of the good bridges too. Cool little section here. it's not clean. He's using a heavy guitar, but he's just doing like this melodic tapping with delay and reverb on there. Another guitar coming in, doing more of like a picking technique. Oh yeah. I mean, these were guys that they knew what they were doing. I did hear some bass in there. I don't think I've mentioned the basses. Unfortunately, this is a metal record, and his name is Kelly Conlon. The tone sounded great, and I'm sure he's a great bassist. I'm sure he's hitting all the parts in the pocket. It's just unfortunately, bass isn't one of like the bigger instruments in metal. Sometimes it can be, and even in past Death records, he has Steve DiGiorgio on bass, and he plays like a 6-string fretless, and you can hear all the crazy stuff he's doing. But with this record, it's more guitar and drums and vocals. But every once in a while, a little bass will shine through and remind you. That's one of the things, like, you see these bands live and you really hear how important the bass is. Metal is such a funny thing that way. Like, the live aspect and the studio aspect are so different. I mean, they're just two completely different aspects. I guess you could say that about any genre of music you ever had. So here we're building up to a super fast chorus. Again. Super cool. I love it, man. Cool. I like looking at like the thank you notes and stuff. You know, especially like here in the '90s, he's thanking like Terrorizer and Metal Hammer and Rock Brigade and Kerrang and the Young Mates Music Paper. That was back in the day when they used to have like metal magazines and print was still alive. You don't really see that too often. This is another fan favorite called Crystal Mountain. I don't know if you can hear those twinkling clean guitars behind me, but this song especially, we've already heard some clean guitar. But see, this one's got some going here, and then also we will hear, spoilers, some classical acoustic guitar as well. I had some friends that covered this song at a show once, and it was just so much fun. Because they did a really good job with it. They're really good musicians, great guitarists. My buddy Brian Powers on guitar there. Cool guy. This is one of those A-B format choruses, and actually listening to the verse, that was pretty much an A-B format with the clean guitars weaving in and out on there. This is just a straight up, this is a chunky bridge. So we're getting the chunk back for this one. More chunk. I guess there was chunk in the last song too, right? So, I mean, look, you're listening to a death metal record, you're gonna get some chunk. This track is about, it's about religion. I guess Crystal Mountain, like that's their religion is a crystal mountain. I don't really know what that means. I'm sure like a crystal mountain would be hard to climb, and it could probably break easy, maybe. If I was going to interpret lyrics I'm not really reading right now, I think that's what I would say. Amazing guitar solo by Chuck here. Just proving once again Some people call him the godfather of death metal. Um, sure, why not? I don't really think I'm going to argue against someone saying something like that. And true to form, we're back to the intro riff and back to a verse. Bringing those clean guitars back. It's only like a 4-note chord, but it just sounds so cool. I'm going to have to sit down and figure out what chord that is. I'm loving like you can hear the harmonies of the guitars going. It's just a simple rhythm too. It's not like he's doing these crazy soaring harmonies. Not that they haven't already done that. It's a fun little melodic riff. You know, instead of going for the speed on this one, I think he's going more for like the melody. A little more groove. Hoagland's, he's got this ride beat going on here. Mixing it up with some fills. And his fills are getting more and more pronounced as it goes. So there's that classic acoustic guitar. Yeah, it's kind of a cool, like, it's like guitar solo, heavy, clean, drum fill, kind of going back and forth into a fade out. Okay, yeah, I'm here for it, man. Crystal Mountain, great song. Like I said, another fan favorite. I'd like to think that they played that live quite a bit after this record came out. This next song is a personal favorite of mine too. It's called Misanthrope. So I guess another song about shitty people. I like this one just because it's fast. I think it's one of the faster ones. Yeah, that's fast. Ooh. I'm sure they chunk it down and whatnot, but you know, sometimes I like the songs that are just like, yeah, the straightforward thrashing rippers. Really can't beat that. You know, as much as I like to see a band expand their sounds and add the clean guitar, the acoustic, classic guitar technique on there, I also just want to hear some straight up death and thrash, you know? But that's not to say that the song is without melody, because, I mean, this riff right here, very melodic. Pretty technical, too. Like, I don't know, this band, like, you can call them melodic, technical, death metal, I would say, right? You could add classic in there just because they're one of the old bands, but this is one of the groups that, like, they had everything. Very cool stuff. Alright, so now we're getting into, this is the chorus riff. It starts off groovy, heavy, and then just straight up for the fast and technical. Hoagland with his double bass kicks shining through. That's a really cool riff. Groovy, technical, and then fast. It's just like, let's just throw it all in there. Ooh, I guess I never really noticed it like that. That's pretty cool. Into another great bridge. I guess kind of following the lead of Without Judgment, where it's like very guitar heavy, but he's got like a lot of effects on them. Like I'm already hearing like a flanger or a phaser. A lot of reverb. Reverb on the drums too. But just to go into a thrashing, I'm guessing a guitar solo. Yep. Shoulder. like I said before, Schuldner's definitely the main guy. I also did mention Colville will be back on the next track, the final track. So, if you've been watching the show and you've been getting itchy, trying to scratch that Colville itch, he will be back. So don't worry about that. We're going back into the first verse riff for a new verse. Yeah, this is the 8th song, and it's been every song. It's the same song arrangement. And I love it. Like, I wish I could say that would be my biggest complaint about the record, but I can't even say that, because that's actually probably one thing I love about the record so much, is that it's so consistent. You can tell that they're sprinkling in some experimentation, if you want to call it that, with clean intros, clean breaks, the bridge segments, the different use of guitars and all the harmonies and stuff. But at the end of the day, this is just a rockin' album, and it's something I can listen to front and back, and I can talk about it, just like how I am with you today. Alright, so we're back into this chorus. I want to listen to this again. Such a cool idea. Like, start off with that. It's almost like a hardcore riff with that stop in there. And then I think those are the same notes, but just twice as fast. And then you got Holland come in with those double bass drums on. Oh, sometimes I hear something like this and it just like opens up my mind. It's like, this is a band I've been listening to for, well over 10 years, 15 years. And I'm still kind of hearing things for the first time. Like, I never realized it was like that. That's pretty cool. So this is the last song, Perennial Quest. It is a long song. I'm not gonna lie about that. But it's up there with all the other ones. It's pretty much the same arrangement, but just kind of drawn out, maybe a little bit more. I don't know what the lyrics are quite about. He's like, the journey begins. It's a perennial quest. I just think it sounds really cool. This riff is really cool. I would say it's almost like proggy. It's in a 5/4 timing, so okay, you're using different time signatures. I'll give you a little prog nod to you, Death, for making a 5/4 riff. I haven't heard really any like weird odd time signature riffs in the album so far. There was that weird drum beat on Zero Tolerance, but nothing that was specifically like, oh, this is a 7 or an 11 or something like that, or a 5. This is just like a heavy, dirty pre-chorus, speeds up into the chorus here. I guess the question will be, will it be a fast chorus or not? And will the bridge be chunky? It's like, these are the questions you gotta ask yourself when you're listening to a Death record. I'm liking these stop riffs going on here. That's a technique that took me a while to really get into as a guitarist. Once I did, I'm all for it. I'll do it all the time now. I guess like once you discover a noise suppressor pedal, it's like you just stop playing and there's no feedback. Okay, that's pretty cool. You can turn it off and still get your feedback if you want it, but sometimes I like my metal clean. It doesn't always have to be all dirty and fuzzed out and shit all the time. Great sounding record. More Sound Recording in Tampa, Florida. This was like a big mecca for the death metal guys back in the day. Jim Morris. Like I think I saw a documentary, Cannibal Corpse. Like they literally moved to Florida just so they could record with Jim Morris at Morris Sound. Nowadays you can record anywhere. It doesn't really matter with the digital age. All right, let's listen to our Coble solo. He's doing some kind of avant-garde playing here. Atonal. Weird rhythmic pattern in the beginning there. Sweet. Okay. And then Schuldner's rounding it out at the end, but cool. Just excellent musicians. And it does sound great. Jim Morris did do a good job. I mean, there's a reason why the guys went over there. Like, back in the day, you couldn't play the double bass pedal. Like, you could barely hear it on a recording just because it would be all muddy. But he figured out a way to, like, compress the drums and somehow throw all those loud and fast guitars on there and everything. I mean, obviously, some of those old recordings aren't the best. Okay, back to this cool proggy riff. I like this riff. It's melodic. Almost got a little bounce to it. Like an upbeat. And then, yeah, just this massive BPM change for this heavy. He's got like a delay on his vocals, which is cool. You don't really hear too many effects on his vocals usually, so it's cool to hear something like that every once in a while. When I think about it, you don't really hear too many effects on the guitars or really anything at all. Like, every once in a while you hear like a flanger or some reverb, but very, very straightforward. This is music that was meant to be played live, and you can tell. Unfortunately, I've only been able to see videos online. Chuck Schuldner passed away long before I even started listening to the band. So. But I can dream, right? I can imagine, and I can put on Death Symbolic whenever I want to. I actually have every Death record on vinyl. I don't know if we might do like a month-long thing where that's all I listen to, but I'm not making any promises. It's a lot of material to go through. Alright, so we're breaking it down at the end. Chuck Schuldner's got a solo here. Just kind of ringing out there. Wow. Perfect. Yeah. Little like acoustic clean part with a little melody over it. Something to reflect on as it fades out. And you reminisce on how great this record was. So thank you, y'all, for coming, hanging out, like and subscribe. And hopefully I'll see y'all next week. Adios.